Okay, so a nuclear power plant, Everpower, is being constructed in Wales. The new plant must satisfy the following conditions. So the first bullet point, it says it's got to be nearer to Aberystwyth than to Bangor. So you can see these two locations here. We're going to be closer to Aberystwyth. Now, when you've got 2 points, okay, or 2 locations, when to be closer to one than the other, we need the perpendicular bisector. Okay, because the perpendicular bisector will be a line, and everywhere on that line, every point on that line, doesn't matter where you are, will be exactly the same distance to the 2 locations. So if you're on that line, you'll be the same distance to Bangor as to Aberystwyth. If you want to be nearer to Aberystwyth, of course, then you're going to shade the side of the line that's closer to Aberystwyth, the side that Aberystwyth's on. So what you do to your perpendicular bisector, you get your compass, okay, put the pin on on Aberystwyth, and then open up your compass. It's more than halfway, okay, so maybe that's just about halfway there. Maybe just open up a little bit more, okay, so you can see now that's more than halfway the distance to Bangor, and we're going to draw an arc, okay, pretty much like that, right, and then remove the pen, keep the gap as it is, right. As I said, I haven't measured that gap, right. You don't need to use a ruler here to measure it, just need to make sure it's more than half the distance from Aberystwyth to Bangor, but keep that gap the same, right. Do not adjust it. If you adjust it, it's all going to go wrong. So then put your pin on Bangor, okay. Sometimes it's easier to turn the paper around as well, okay. So put the pin on Bangor, and we'll do the same now, and we'll draw an arc from Bangor so that they cross, okay. 2 arcs cross. And you can see then where they cross, we can draw our perpendicular bisector, okay. So I'll get my ruler, and I will make sure that where the 2 arcs cross, that's aligned properly, okay. And I'll draw a line through that. And you can see then my perpendicular bisector. Now, as I said earlier, any point on that line will be the same distance to Bangor as it is to Aberystwyth. I mean, I could choose that point there and even measure the distance, okay, with my ruler. It should be the same. So if I measure the distance from that point there to Bangor, we're looking at about 7.5 centimetres, okay, so 7.5 centimetres. And if I do the same then to Aberystwyth, there you go, look, it's identical, okay, 7.5 centimetres. Now, we need to be nearer, it says, doesn't it? Nearer to Aberystwyth, okay? Nearer to Aberystwyth. Now, which side of the line do we need to be on? Well, if we're going to be closer to Aberystwyth, we need to be this side of the line, don't we? Okay, underneath there. So that's the bit I'm going to shade. That's where this nuclear plant is going to go somewhere. But there's a second bullet point, and it says it's got to be located further than 120 kilometres from Swansea. Okay, now Swansea's down here, and it's got to be further than 120 kilometres from it. Now, when you want to be further, when you want to be a certain distance from a single point, we need a circular arc, okay? And in this case, I need to use my ruler to actually measure how much of a gap I need on my compass, all right? But first of all, let's appreciate this scale we've got here. 1 centimetre is 15 kilometres, or 15 kilometres is 1 centimetre. Now, I need 120 kilometres. So I need to work my way to that. So, if 15 kilometres is 1 centimetre, that means 30 kilometres is going to be 2 centimetres, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just doubling up, okay, doubling the distance, doubling the centimetres. If I double again, okay, sometimes this works. Double again, from 30, then double to 60. I've got to obviously double this then, 2 to 4. And then, if I double again, I'll get 120 kilometres, won't I? Because double 60 is 120, double that is 8. So 8 centimetres is what I need to stretch my compass out to. So if I get my compass, put my pin at the start there, right, and on 0, and then stretch it out to 8 centimetres. Okay, that will represent 120 kilometres. There you go, so there's my 8 centimetres. Okay, that's why my pencil is there. It's exactly 8 centimetres. So I put my pin on Swansea, okay, on the point that represents Swansea. Okay, and then I'm going to draw an arc, okay, like that, okay, and you can see there, it's got to be outside of that zone, isn't it? It's going to be further than 120 kilometres from Swansea, it's going to be outside of that zone. So in terms of where we're going to shade, well, it's going to be all of this region here, isn't it? Okay, because this region here is going to be outside of the 120 kilometre zone, but it's also going to be satisfying the first bullet point, which is nearer to Aberystwyth than to Bangor. Okay, so make sure you shade this neatly. Okay, I'm sure you can do a much better job than me. And we've got all the regions are satisfied shaded there. Okay.